Hello friends! Welcome back to the channel. It's been a long time. But today, we're diving into one of the most intense, mind-blowing movies of 2022. A story where love turns into obsession, obsession breeds anger, and anger explodes into revenge. All bound together in a chilling tale that'll leave you breathless. It starts with a quiet, lonely dentist living an ordinary life, until one moment changes everything. A dream that promised happiness, soon decays into darkness, consumed by deceit, betrayal, and madness. When the heart breaks, something inside shatters forever. The innocent becomes dangerous. The victim becomes the hunter. And from that point on there's no way back. This isn't just a movie, it's a psychological storm where love turns deadly and revenge takes the final breath. Hold your breath and don't look away. This ride is packed with darkness, twists, and pure suspense. So don't skip a moment, it only gets wilder till the end. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss any of my movie breakdowns. And tell me in the comments, what did you feel after watching this movie? Alright, let's jump straight into the madness. The movie begins in silence. We meet Dr. Freddy Jinwala, a socially awkward dentist, who lives alone in a small dimly lit house. His only companion is Hardy, the tortoise. Slow, silent, unseen. Much like Freddy himself. In the hush of his small world, he whispers his heart into the stillness. As a young boy, Freddy witnessed a horrifying tragedy. His own father murdered his mother right in front of him, and then took his own life. He was raised by his aunts, Persis and Shahnaz, who still treat him like a little boy. Freddy is 28 years old, and he's been actively searching for a life partner. So he goes on date after date. But for the past 5 years, every attempt has ended in failure. Do you know why? Because whenever he talks to women, he becomes nervous, awkward, almost scared. His discomfort makes them uneasy, and in the end, they always reject him. Most of his dates take place at a small local cafe where he's been a regular for the past 3 years. Even the cafe staff know his story, and sometimes, they cruelly laugh behind his back. One day, Freddy attends a family wedding with his aunt. His aunt notices a nice girl across the room and nudges him gently. A beautiful woman stands there with quiet grace. Freddy's heart skips a beat when he sees her. She greets with a warm smile. "Go talk to her," his aunt says with a grin. His heart starts to race. His hands tremble. Yet somehow, he decides to be brave and walks toward her. He opens his mouth to speak. But before a word can escape, everything shatters. A man steps between them, her husband, his face burning with anger. Without warning, the man strikes Freddy across the face. For a moment, the world stops. Freddy stands there, stunned, pain stinging not just his cheek, but his heart. That night, Freddy lies in bed, thinking about the girl he met at the wedding. The very next day, he goes back to his dental clinic, doing checkups and small talk with patients. Everything changes suddenly. The girl from the wedding is standing in his clinic, right in front of him. She smiles softly, her voice calm and warm. She introduces herself as Kainaz Irani, and says she needs a wisdom tooth extraction. Freddy treats her gently and asks her to come back another day to continue the treatment. During the visit, she apologizes for what happened at the wedding, and tells Freddy that her husband, Rustam, becomes violent when he drinks. As they spend more time together, Freddy's heart begins to change. He feels something for Kainaz, something deep. Feelings grow inside him. The next day, Kainaz walked back into the clinic. And Freddy, he was already waiting. The moment she stepped through that door, his heart started racing. He tried to stay professional, tried to hide it, but inside, he was falling apart. Because every time he looked at her, he felt something he couldn't explain. As the medicine took effect, she slowly closed her eyes, calm, peaceful. Freddy told his assistant to step outside. And then it was just the two of them. For a moment, he just stood there, watching her. The way her lips curved into that gentle smile. The way the light fell softly across her face. He couldn't look away. When the treatment was over, Freddy handed her some medicine and gently explained how to use it. Before she left, he asked her to come back the next day for a follow-up checkup. Meanwhile, in secret, Freddy used her registration details from the clinic to find Kainaz's address. That evening, he drives to her neighborhood. He parks his car near her apartment building, hidden in the shadows, and quietly watches. Through the window, Freddy sees something that shatters him inside. Her husband, Rustam, is hitting her again and again. Freddy grips the steering wheel, frozen in shock. His eyes fill with fear and anger. He's horrified and helpless. But the next day, she didn't come. Freddy waited. Hours passed. Worried, he finally called. She said she was fine. But he could hear the pain in her voice. Later, in the park, he saw the truth. The bruises. The fear. The sadness she tried so hard to hide. And that day, she opened up. She finally told him everything. The abuse, the silence, the loneliness she'd been living with for so long. Freddy listened in silence. Then, in a calm and gentle voice, he comforted her. Their meetings continued, and with each one, Freddy fell a little deeper in love. Slowly, his life began to change. Everything felt different, brighter, and more alive whenever she was around. They started meeting in different ways, messaging, sharing small moments, laughing together, enjoying each other's company like a young couple. Freddy's life changes every single day. He loves Kainaz deeply, quietly, from the corners of his heart. Every morning, he thinks of her. Every night, he dreams of her. But one day, everything changes. Freddy calls Kainaz like always, but she doesn't answer. He calls again and again, but only silence replies. His mind floods with fear. Driven by worry, Freddy rushes to her house. When he gets there, Rustam, her husband, isn't home. Freddy knocks on the door, and when Kainaz opens it, his world stops. Her face is bruised. Her hands are shaking. Her eyes are filled with fear and pain. She's been hurt again by Rustam. This time, Freddy finally tells her he loves her. Wants to protect her, and begs her to leave everything behind so they can start a new life together. But Kainaz pulls away, not because she doesn't care, but because she's scared. She reminds him she's still married, and Rustam isn't just violent, he's dangerous. Freddy's heart sinks. He feels helpless, rejected, broken. Something dark starts to grow inside Freddy. From that moment, he's no longer the same. The kind, gentle man he once was slowly fades away. He watches Rustam, noting every move, every habit. Day by day, Freddy plans with cold precision. One thought drives him: protect her. After a few days, Freddy tells Kainaz he's found a solution, and asks her to meet him at the park. When they meet, he looks at her and says, "There's only one way to truly free you from Rustam. We have to get rid of him," Freddy says. Kainaz stares at him, shocked. Her voice trembles. "How?" she whispers. Freddy takes a deep breath and says, "If you really want to be free, he can't be part of your life anymore." Kainaz freezes. She calls it madness, refusing to believe what she's hearing. But Freddy stays calm. "If you want to keep suffering, that's your choice," he says softly. "But if you want a new life, I'll make it happen." Her eyes fill with tears, her hands shaking. She lowers her gaze, and after a long, heavy pause, she nods, surrendering silently to the weight of the moment. From that moment, Freddy says, "You don't have to do anything. I'll take care of everything." One night, everything is ready. Freddy waits in his car, hidden in the shadows of a lonely, empty road. Rustam walking alone, completely unaware of the fate waiting just seconds ahead. And Freddy, cold, focused, presses down on the accelerator. The car charges forward. And with a violent, unforgiving crash it slams into Rustam's body. Freddy leaves no evidence, making it look like an accident. After committing the perfect crime, he feels a cold satisfaction. To avoid suspicion, he leaves town for a few days and goes to his farmhouse, which once belonged to his late parents, and stops talking with Kainaz as planned. Rustam's death is ruled a hit and run, and with no leads, the police find nothing. Freddy's cover-up works perfectly. After Rustam's death, Freddy isolates himself at his farmhouse for weeks as he planned. He imagines her waiting for him. One evening, Freddy walks to her house. His heart races. He pictures her opening the door, smiling, welcoming him. This is it. Their new beginning. He raises his hand and knocks. The door creaks open. And then, he freezes. Another man stands there right beside Kainaz. Hope shatters. Kainaz looks at him, cold as ice. "Leave," she says. "I don't want to talk to you anymore." Freddy's chest tightens. The man, he knows him. The chef from the Blue Whale Cafe, Raymond. But now he's here, in Kainaz's house, the life Freddy thought was his. Confusion and shock flood him. Kainaz laughs. Sharp and mocking. And then, the truth hits him. Kainaz never loved him. Not once. She used him. Manipulated him. He was nothing but a pawn in her plan to get rid of Rustam, and take over his restaurant with Raymond. Her smile turns icy. She leans close. "If you ever come back, I'll go straight to the police." She shows him photos on her phone. Proof. Evidence. Rustam's murder, and Freddy framed for it. Freddy's world collapses. He lunges at Kainaz, rage burning through him, but Raymond blocks him. He stumbles back, trembling, powerless. Kainaz and her new lover shove him to the floor. Their laughter echoes through the room, cruel, merciless. They mock him. Humiliate him. Turn the one thing he ever believed in, into a joke. Finally, Kainaz glares at him, venom in her voice. "Every time you touched me, I wanted to throw up. I was disgusted. You got your chance to be with me. And I got my chance to get rid of my husband." After Kainaz's betrayal, Freddy's world falls apart. Heartbroken and haunted, he drifts through endless nights, replaying her lies, her laughter, her betrayal. Slowly, the pain changes. Sadness twists into something else: rage. Quiet. Cold. Dangerous. Meanwhile, Kainaz has moved on. She now owns a restaurant, running it alongside Raymond, living her life as if nothing happened. One day, Freddy walks in. He just wants to order some ice cream. But when Kainaz and Raymond see him, their smiles are cruel. Instead of guilt or remorse, they approach with mockery, with arrogance. They insult him and humiliate him in front of everyone present. Kainaz asks, "What do you want?" Freddy says, "Just say sorry." She laughs. Raymond hits him, and showing the photos, the WhatsApp messages, proof that could destroy him completely. They threaten him, reminding him how powerless he really is. And then, without any mercy, they throw him out onto the street, humiliated and alone. After this incident, something inside Freddy is different. Something snaps. Something cracks. That quiet rage, that smoldering anger, transforms into something new. Something unstoppable. Freddy's revenge finally begins. He watches them in silence. He studies every move, their habits, their routines, their weaknesses. Every step, every word, recorded. He knows their every move, their routes, their meals, their schedules, even the medicines they trust to survive. Freddy learns their lives. Until their world becomes his own. Every routine. Every secret. Every flaw. And then, one quiet evening, he steps inside Kainaz's apartment. A duplicate key. A silent entry. He's inside their home, their lives. He starts small. A few sleeping pills in their dinner. A drop of sedative in Kainaz's face cream. Each dose carefully measured. Just enough to make them slower, weaker. Dinner ends with laughter and a hidden drug. Freddy's sedative dissolves quietly into their food, unnoticed. Moments later, the fatigue sets in. Their eyelids grow heavy. Their voices fade. Silence fills the room. And soon, they drift into deep, helpless sleep. Completely defenseless. Freddy moves like a shadow. Quiet. Precise. He unlocks their phones. Deletes every message, every photo. Every trace that links him to Rustam's death. But Freddy isn't finished. He wants them to feel what he felt. The fear, the loss, the helplessness. He slides under their car. And cuts the brake line. Hours later, Kainaz wakes, gasping for air, her face and body covered in allergic rashes. Her allergy pills gone. Her breathing grows weaker with every passing second, and she knows she needs to get to a hospital fast. Without wasting a moment, he grabs her and rushes to the car. They race through the busy streets, weaving between vehicles, desperate to reach the hospital in time. Suddenly, the brakes don't respond. Raymond presses the pedal again and again, but it sinks useless. The car swerves out of control, spinning wildly before crashing into a roadside construction barrier. Moments later, both of them open their eyes. Shaken, bruised, terrified. But alive. At the hospital, Kainaz lies awake, trembling. "How did this happen?" she whispers. The next morning, Kainaz is shocked and rushes to the restaurant after hearing that the Food Safety Authority is preparing to shut it down. As Kainaz and Raymond rush out, Freddy makes his move. He enters their empty home like a ghost returning to claim what's his. Using Raymond's laptop, Freddy's revenge spreads across the internet within minutes, their private moments exposed to the world. At the restaurant, Kainaz's phone buzzes. She checks it and freezes. Her eyes widen in shock as she sees private photos of herself and Raymond spreading online. In that instant, she understands. Nothing that's happened was an accident. This is Freddy's revenge, his message to them. Shaken but determined, Kainaz and Raymond make a decision. They have to go to meet Freddy face to face. Kainaz and Raymond storm in. They burst through the door, wild, violent, merciless. They beat Freddy, screaming threats. But they don't know Freddy was ready. Before they arrived, he had set the stage. Doors left unlocked, a call placed to the police. The police say an anonymous tip-off brought them here, and they catch Kainaz and Raymond red-handed for attacking Freddy in his own home. Kainaz panics, gasping, desperate. This man is not innocent. He killed my husband. He's been torturing us. But the officers want proof. Frantically, Kainaz and Raymond grab their phones. Scrolling, searching. Nothing is there. Every photo. Every video. Every trace gone. Freddy just watches calm. He doesn't file a complaint against them, and Kainaz and Raymond are set free. Kainaz realizes they have fallen right into Freddy's plan. A faint, knowing smile spreads across his face. When they return home, Kainaz turns to Raymond. Kainaz, you have to end this. If you're a man. The pressure builds unbearable. One day, when Freddy wasn't home, Raymond came with a friend. They smashed the furniture, tore the photos, and destroyed everything in sight. Then Raymond did something unforgivable. He took Freddy's only friend, Hardy the tortoise. Later, Kainaz sneered, her laughter dripping with mockery. We killed it, she said. Cooked it. Had it as soup. Freddy doesn't reply, not because he can't speak, but because something inside him breaks. His eyes fill with tears. Hardy wasn't just a pet, he was the only soul who ever loved Freddy unconditionally. His only true friend. Kainaz finally realizes they've made a huge mistake, one that can never be undone. She knows how much Freddy truly loved his tortoise. And that he would never forgive her for killing him. Now completely on edge, she turns to Raymond and says, Freddy won't stop, unless we stop him first for good. Meanwhile, Freddy had already set his final plan in motion. He sent a beggar to the police, claiming the man had witnessed Rustam's accident and that the vehicle belonged to Dr. Freddy. When the officers arrived, Freddy twisted the story, making it seem as though Kainaz and Raymond were responsible for Rustam's death. He built his lie carefully, submitting evidence that pointed directly at them. Before long, the police reopened the case. After that, Freddy quietly closes his dental clinic for a few days. And drives to his farmhouse, waiting for the final act to begin. Soon after, the police call Kainaz. They request her to come to the station. She and Raymond panic, they're getting trapped. Then, Freddy calls. He calmly tells Kainaz that he's filed a complaint, accusing her and Raymond of killing Rustam with their car, and threatening him with evidence to prove it. Freddy then invites them to meet him at his farmhouse. Kainaz realizes this might be their best chance to get rid of him. And they agree to go and drive toward the farmhouse. Meanwhile, the police review CCTV footage from earlier that day. Kainaz and Raymond are seen carrying large suitcases suspiciously. The officers begin to suspect they're preparing to flee the country. Inside the farmhouse, Freddy waits for Kynaz and Raymond to arrive. Kynaz and Raymond arrive at Freddy's farmhouse. Before getting out of the car, Kynaz whispers, "This place is deserted, no one around. We'll find something to kill him. That's their only plan." Freddy welcomes them with a calm, almost serene smile. His voice comes out warm and soft, disturbingly gentle after seeing Kynaz. Kynaz and Raymond notice that Freddy has a gun, their eyes widening. When Freddy turns to pour a drink, he sets it down carelessly on the table beside him. Kynaz realizes this is her chance. Heart pounding, she reaches for the gun and points it at Freddy. Her voice trembles with anger and fear. "Who's going to say sorry now?" she asks. Freddy freezes, caught completely off guard, his confident smile fading. She pulls the trigger, a sharp click rings out. Nothing. She tries again. Still nothing. Her hands shake violently as the horrifying truth sinks in, the gun is empty, and she's trapped. Raymond lunges at Freddy, swinging with all his strength. Freddy strikes back, and in an instant, Raymond goes rigid. Seconds later, he crumples to the floor. Kynaz tries to strike Freddy, but he is always ready. In the end, both Kynaz and Raymond are left temporarily unconscious. Slowly, Kynaz and Raymond regain consciousness. Panic hits them immediately. They're strapped into dental chairs, mouths pried open, utterly helpless. Freddy looms between them, silent, his gaze cold and unyielding. Freddy begins to speak, his voice low and measured. "I begged for one thing, just one word, sorry. But instead, you mocked me. You hit me. You humiliated me. You killed the only one who ever loved me, Hardy, my only friend, my family. First, you made me believe we had a future. Then you made me kill your husband. Then you left me like garbage. You chose the wrong doctor." Freddy takes a breath, his voice breaking between pain and fury. Kynaz knew they were trapped. There was no chance of getting away from Freddy now. Tears streamed down her face as she tried to speak to him, hoping to touch whatever humanity was left inside him. But Freddy's silence was colder than death. Without anesthesia, Freddy picks up his dental tools. One by one, he pulled out Raymond's teeth without merciless. Once his revenge was complete, Freddy dragged Raymond to a shadowed corner of the farmhouse and buried him alive. When he finished, Freddy slowly turned to Kynaz. Tears streamed down her face, tears of pain, regret, and fear. She tried to speak through the clamp. "Freddy, please," she screamed. Freddy raised his tool and brought it down toward her open mouth. Without anesthesia, he removed her teeth one by one. Her desperate screams echoed across the empty farmhouse, swallowed by silence. There was no one to hear them. Finally, Kynaz, barely alive and trembling, was carried in Freddy's arms to the edge of a shallow pit behind the farmhouse. Freddy laid her down inside it. Her eyes fluttered open, weak, terrified, searching for mercy. Then, shovel after shovel of dirt began to fall. Her muffled screams grew faint as the earth slowly, quietly swallowed her. When the last breath was gone, Freddy moved closer to the mound. Slowly, he lay down on top of it over her buried body as the night closed in around him.